Hello, and thank you for joining us for session number 18 of the Unsung Tales, a one-ring actual play on the HappyJacksrpg network. To find all the sessions of this game, you can visit happyjacks.org, Unsung Tales. No the, we just leave out the Unsung Tales. And to find all the shows on the HappyJacksrpg network, you can visit happyjacks.org. My name is Kimi. I am your Loremaster for this game. I use she, her pronouns. And yeah, we are using safety tools tonight, so don't forget about that. We do have a lines and veils sheet that we've all filled out. We also have X cards, and let's go around and remind ourselves of our wonderful fellowship for this game. We'll start over here.
Oh. Hi, everybody. I am Kadave. I will be playing Hannar of Durin's folk, a dwarf that has found his way into elven lore entirely by accident. And thinks it's pretty cool. And thinks maybe long-term thinking here, like, elves are leaving. We're the next longest-lived race. Maybe we take over all that weird lore stuff. It's a thing. We're both he, him, and yeah. We're about to find something cool. Or terrifying. We're both.
Yep.
Hey everyone, my name is Ray, he, him, and I am playing Badindor, the Ranger of the North, who we will see what happens to when he descends into the depths of wherever the heck we are.
Yep. And just a heads up, if you're listening to this episode, Ray is joining us. He's being beamed in from Las Vegas. So if his audio sounds a little bit different, that's because he's not actually here in studio with us tonight, but we're very glad that he was able to make it. So thank you so much, Ray.
Good to be here.
Yay, technology.
Yeah.
It's coming from space.
Ah. Hi, guys. I'm Kai. I use he, they, and she pronouns. And I play Aerlind of Mithlond, a elf of Lindon who is just doing their very best. Aerlind uses he and they pronouns and is a shipwright of the ships of the Grey Havens. And is also maybe a little power hungry. Just a little. Just a taste.
Fun. Hi, everybody. I'm Sam. I play Runa of Bree, a treasure hunter, who is real excited to find out what's in this ruin that we're in right now.
Me too. All right, just a short recap. So last session, which was a little while ago because we missed last week playing, you were in Swanfleet, which is this marsh area in Middle-earth. It's not very well known because it's very difficult terrain to get through. You need a guide of some type. You were lucky enough to bribe some talking otters to be your guides. You managed to also make friends with the wise woman who lived in the swamp because of Runa's quick thinking with knowing how much crones like herbs. Good job.
When in doubt, bring a gift basket.
Yes, exactly. So you made friends with them, and they had you prove yourselves. The leader came out and nailed a bird's skull to a tree and then left you for the night because that's not creepy or weird. And you were able to then, that summoned what was called the ghost bird, which has a lot of lore in Swanfleet about being kind of like a judgment, a spirit that comes and decides who's worthy and who is not, who is just and who is not. And in battle, you very soundly and very quickly defeated the ghost bird, and also found some clues that it is not actually a ghost at all, but
Or a bird.
or even a bird. Yeah.
Its name is All Lies.
Yes. But some sort of humanoid on stilts, which is now somewhat, at least a bit injured. And they fled into the marsh, and you were victorious and proved yourselves. So the next day, the crones led you most of the way to the sunken palace, but they're very slow walkers. So Lord Paddlefoot showed up to help you once again and took you to the sunken ruin, which was where the sleeper is supposed to be. It turned out to be this incredible, elaborate palace from ages ago. were like thousands of years ago, that was of elvish design but dwarvish build, which is a very strange, a little bit like what thing for Middle Earth. And you found your way down what would have been a tower, but it had sunk, so it was more like a spiral stairway down into underneath the marsh. And at the bottom of that stairway was a hall that was a round shape, sort of like a hallway that was around a larger round room in the center of what is a large tower. And carved on the sides of this wall was the story basically of the forging of the Rings of Power, which everyone had very different kind of reactions to, including our ranger, who was aghast and very upset about it. And and it came to your you basically came to the understanding that this was built by Celebrimbor to hold his greatest treasure. And for those of you just tuning in to all things Silmarillion and Tolkien history, Celebrimbor was the greatest of after his grandfather.
Sure. The less problematic one.
His very problematic grandfather was one of the greatest elven craftspersons to exist, and he was the one who, accidentally taught Sauron how to forge the Rings of Power. So,
Oops.
And still somehow is the less problematic one of his line.
yeah, really, like, really. Somehow everyone still likes him. So yes, and so the fact that this building houses his greatest treasure could be anything. It could be an incredible weapon. It could be another ring. It could be who knows. So there's so many things, and every person in our fellowship went through and kind of had their own moment of imagining what it might be. And I think that's where we ended last time, right? Is that everything?
I think so,
All the
yeah.
important stuff? Okay. Okay, very exciting. All right. So you were all wandering, just so we have kind of an agreement on how the layout is. This is what would have been a large tower. It's a round shape, somewhat similar to kind of the palace that you saw in Illuminus. But it has sunk so far into the ground that you just barely, as you were at the top, saw kind of the dome at the top of this tower sticking out of the marsh. So when you came in, the tower you came in, actually, it should have been like a large round tower with smaller towers on the northeast, southwest of it. You came in one and you went down underneath. So you were basically at the bottom of a tower, even though you're basically way underground right now, or under marsh.
Under water adjacent.
Technically ground.
Under muck.
Muck. Yeah,
There you go.
You're wet.
Yeah, so you're in this small hallway that is the outer edge of this tower, and so you have a wall to one side, which is the outer wall, which has muck on the other side of it, and you have a wall on the inside, which probably has a room or something. So it's very dark. I know you have your amazing torch,
Yep.
your dwarven torch, and as you continue to walk around this hallway, you just see more history and of the forging of the rings. You see scenes of Celebrimbor's forge and what must be his apprentices. There's
His
another...
apprentices' forges or like remains of his apprentices?
No, like carved in the wall.
Oh,
Like,
okay.
Yeah. Sorry,
No,
like
that's
in
cool.
beams.
Important clarification.
Yes,
Yeah,
thank
yeah.
you. That's an important clarifying point. No, this is like scenes carved into the wall.
Gotcha. Okay.
So, there are no remains here in this part. It's just this beautiful carving on the wall. And again, it's scenes that were obviously dictated or described to dwarves, because it is clearly dwarvish construction.
The carvings as well.
Yes.
Okay.
So this entire, you can tell all of this was made by dwarves, specifically Hannar. You'd be very familiar with this. But these are obviously very specific and personal. Like these are like daily, like there is the forging of the rings, which is a huge moment, but as you go around the edges of this tower, there's moments that are like more day to day. Like this is like almost like Celebrimbor's memories have been carved onto these walls. I just got his eyes get big sometimes, just like, okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Aerlind is obviously scribbling furiously. I think I said that last time. The notebook is already out. But I think my important question is there anything, given the depth of knowledge that does exist about Celebrimbor, is there anything that seems either purposely missing or added that seems out of place?
Would you roll lore for me, please?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Lore? I hate rolling lore. It's not the one thing I always succeed in this game. I say that now. Okay, we're good. I succeed. It's nothing special. But yeah, I more than succeed. We're good.
You are able to recognize some of the people on the wall here. And knowing history the way you do, it very clearly places the building of this building, because there are very flattering images of who you know must be Annatar. Spoilers. That is the beautiful fake persona that Sauron put on to trick the elves into helping him make the ring. And he was basically the most fair, the most charming, the most amazing being at that time. But eventually everyone figured out who he was. So this time, the fact that the carvings are flattering and depicting him in a very, very good way show that this building was built before they knew of the One Ring and the betrayal. And there is also another figure that you don't know the name of, who is very prominent in a lot of these carvings, as it looks like almost like they were like the main apprentice or the protege of Celebrimbor. And they are very clearly featured through a lot of this as well.
Is there any text with these images, or is it just images?
Not in this part.
Okay.
There's just these images.
Can I roll to see if Barendor knows that as well, or
Sure.
recognizes?
Yeah,
Awesome.
absolutely.
Okay. What do I roll?
You'll roll lore for me, please.
Okay, so I have 2 in lore,
All
Okay.
right.
which means
You're
I
going to roll your feat die and then 2 d6s. Maybe you
okay,
switch
two-
so we see him live.
2d6 and then a
Feet
what was
die.
the
The d12.
Which is d12? Okay, I rolled a 3, and a 2.
Oh
So that's all
no!
Okay, well, I'm going to say that's probably a miss. If you look at the target number above it, definitely.
All right, so Barendor is just a himbo ranger. Got it.
Well, you would know a lot of your people's history. So if this had been like Numenorian, but this is like way before even Numenor sank. So this is
Gotcha.
like so far back. Like even rangers probably don't have a lot of stories left from this period. So it makes sense you wouldn't necessarily know. You definitely recognize the forging of the rings, because like everyone would be like, oh, like they're making 3 rings. That's important. We know what that is. But you wouldn't necessarily know the main players from literally thousands of years beyond before your current people.
Okay, so Barender is gonna look kind of quizzically at that figure of what was it, Sauron's pretend name?
Annatar.
Adatar, and kind of furrow his brow and look towards the others and be like, do you notice that this one in particular is very fair and very handsome? This seems to be held in quite high regard.
Yes, because it's a facade.
A facade.
Really? And I go up and
No,
push
Touch it.
on it a little bit.
no, that is the lieutenant of the greatest of darknesses. That is Sauron. the bringer of Melkor's wrath.
And he came here.
Well, no, but he plays very prominently in this tale. It's this one, and Aerlind points to the apprentice and points to them again and again. This is the one I don't know. And I think they might have something to do with this facility, this palace.
Out of character question, do we know like what the fate of Celebrimbor was? Like, is that sort of a general? Since he seems famous enough that we'd all be like, "Oh yeah, I've heard of that guy."
You would know that he died. Yes. Aerlind would definitely know his whole life story. But whether it was like the whole story of how he.
Well, sure,
But
but
yeah,
I mean, just like, was there like some big betrayal moment? Like, did he get stabbed at the forge when they were making the rings, or?
No. He made it.
Okay.
He made it through all that, and he actually made it to the Second Age and the War of the Ring, I believe. Right?
I think so.
I have to double check that real quick.
I know, I'm like, Celebrimbor is,
I look-
we're doing a deep dive.
Yeah.
And, like, if it's not even something that you guys can pull out of the air, then I assume that the average dwarf doesn't know anything about that.
Yeah.
I mean, he's
Yeah.
super famous. It's just one of those things that
Sure.
because there's not a lot written about the Second Age.
Yeah. It's like he died at some point. He was killed by Sauron.
Yeah.
Okay. But it was
But not like right
Yeah,
there.
Second Age, like
yeah,
more than halfway
later.
through.
Yeah. So yeah, there we go. But it was after like a lot of like Moria had fallen and a lot of things. So it was a time after the forging of the rings.
And there was forgiveness
Yes.
for him having a hand in the forging of the ring.
Like, other elves forgave Celebrimbor?
Everyone kind of did.
Okay.
Because he was like one of the greatest creators to ever live in Middle Earth.
Sure. So he posted like an apology video.
Yeah,
It
exactly.
worked. He was
One that actually worked.
Yeah. Like,
Sorry.
Yeah.
That's the.
Just him crying on camera for an hour.
Yeah.
I didn't know that was Sauron. Nobody knew.
You probably after Barandir, you probably, when it was like brought to you, you probably do know the story of how Sauron betrayed the elves. Like he tricked them, and that's where he got the name the Great Deceiver. To forge the rings. So you would probably know that story for sure as one of the rangers. You may not know it well enough to like recognize the actual image of him, but once Aerlind mentions that, you would then be very familiar with that part of the story.
So,
As you continue walking around, there is a doorway. You see, it's like a little small arch that goes into like a hallway that leads into the inner area. Yeah.
I think as we travel, Aerlind is just keeping track of that protege as often as he can find in any relief.
Okay. Yeah. In the full 360-degree hallway at the bottom, there's like 8 separate scenes, and he appears in 5 of them. So he is not in the one of the final like forging of the rings, though.
Sure.
So Celebrimbor's there, Anatar's there, but the apprentice is not in that one.
Well, this seems to be our path.
is
I
it
think we go.
a door there, or is it open hall?
It's like an open, like
okay.
an arch that goes into like a hallway. There's not an actual physical door. It's a doorway.
Sure.
Entryway. Better.
I would like to spend a minute and really check that hallway, like see if there's anything suspicious about any of the bit of the entryway to this inner sanctum of this tower.
As you kind of like bring your torch up, you see that it leads to a full entryway. Like there's like the door arch, and it leads to what is sort of I can't think of the word right now, but
The vestibule, sort of.
that's not the word I was thinking.
It's a good pull.
But that's a good word.
Antechamber?
Yeah, there you go. Yeah,
Oh.
an antechamber. There we go. And it is like there's these two stunning elven figures that are carved, and they are very clearly representative of like the Valar, some of the gods. One is completely covered in gold, and it's not tarnished. You can tell it's like a thin layer. In certain places it's starting to kind of pull up and peel up off the stone that it's on, and in its hand it's holding the representation of the sun. And you would recognize there is the sun, and then at the center of the sun there's a flower. And then the other one that is kind of mirrored on the other side is covered completely in silver, and it is holding a representative like the moon, and in there's a leaf. So, and they're just standing there and are incredibly beautiful. But you can see that they've been here a very long time.
We should say that Aerlind's looking at them. He's still taking notes in the hallway.
Yeah. You do see down at the bottom of these statues strange little bundles of herbs and different like twigs and things that have been woven together.
Almost like offerings, kind of.
It seems like offerings, yeah. So it seems very clear that at least the crones, who knows who else, but use this as a place of worship in a way.
Are these statues the only thing in the room?
Those are the most prominent things. There are some other scenes carved also in there, but this is more of like an entryway into what is a larger room beyond it.
Okay.
So in this room, yes.
Okay. Gotcha.
Is it safe?
I think so.
Oh, those are beautiful.
If you want to roll scan
Yeah.
or something.
Let me just double check. I'm nervous. Oh. Success with a tangle.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Looking at this room, you see that underneath there's a few places where it doesn't look like it's been naturally pulled up. The gold on these statues, the gold on the sun statue pulled up, and it's black marble underneath. But you also notice down below where they're like the place where it had been pried up, it looks like someone took like something like a crowbar and was trying to pry it off. There is a dark stain on the marble underneath there.
Cool. These statues can stay here. That's fine. I think I would go up and touch the base of the moon statue, just to like feel the metal, just get a sense of it.
Yeah. Incredibly high quality silver. Like there is a literal fortune uncovering these statues in this room.
And it's actually silver. It's not like
Absolutely.
mithril.
Yeah, it's not mithril. Yeah, that would be wild. That would be a wild
That'd be
amount
so
of
funny.
mithril.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
who knows?
Yeah. No, good question. But no, it's definitely very pure silver and gold. And
Is
nothing.
the silver tarnished? Because gold doesn't tarnish, but silver would.
Over time.
A little bit in places, but it is finely crafted dwarven/elven silver, which I'm going to say doesn't tarnish because I want it to look
Okay.
pretty in this shot. So.
Sure, right on.
Seeing Hannar enter, Aerlind finally looks in and sees these two statues. Are they actually Orome and Aule?
They are representations of that.
Yeah, obviously they're not
Yeah.
the real Valar.
Yeah,
but
they look different than you usually see them depicted in Elvish
they have beards.
depictions. They do not have beards. The elves weren't quite that brazen with their.
I feel like if you had skipped out on that detail, I wouldn't be upset.
Yeah.
I'm asking today.
Right.
Yes. But they're just certain things. There were like their jaws are a little more square than the elves generally would depict them, and like just slight differences in like what both like the beauty standards and the ideas of what the Valar would look like. Still incredible and beautiful, but it's just kind of interesting, the small details.
Interesting to represent them, I guess, in a place that used to be above ground.
Runa, what are you doing right now?
I think she is probably just staring at the statues. Just like,
Yeah.
as for a treasure hunter, that's just like no thoughts in head. Look at that.
Shiny gold.
I think I would specifically point out, like, don't these have to stay? Something got very upset at someone trying to take, and I point out the spot.
Oh, yeah. No, they're not going to fit in any of my bags anyway.
Sure.
Also,
But
the
good point.
depictions of the divine.
No, I wouldn't take that.
All right.
Well, I mean, maybe people deserve to see them rather than cast into a swamp.
Yes.
Berendir, what are you doing?
Brandy is probably moseying about in awe, like museum style, going from carving to carving, looking up at the statues, sort of touching the base of it, and has one hand on, or I guess using the spear that he has as sort of like a walking stick, just sort of like loosely having it, just kind of wary about the surroundings and the eerie, dark vibes he gets from this place.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, you and probably Runa, you two also, you both would kind of notice that there are a few places that have like those dark stains on the ground. Like generally near things that are like kind of tempting to treasure hunter types.
Things that look valuable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the things that Runa's like, oh, there's a dark stain there. I should maybe not do that.
Right.
I
guess Berendir would sort of go and track the stains and see how old they are, and if it, what caused them, stuff like that.
Yeah. So I'm not going to make you roll for that because it's something definitely in your skill set. They were obviously cleaned up, but because of like the age and this used to be a beautiful white like marble floor, that like it's still like kind of sunk in and stained. Some of them are very old, and some of them are maybe a few years old. There's not a huge number of them, but it definitely seems that they did not all happen at one time. And you kind of get the impression, Runa, you'd probably get this more, you'd probably be clued into this first, since you kind of like, you're linked in with the crones, and you're like, and you get this probably too, Berendir, because you are of a people who protect things that are long past, and ruins like this are part of like your heritage, unfortunately, or fortunately. That there were people who made it down here who were not welcomed, and they met an untimely and probably a fairly unpleasant fate.
Does it look like these untimely ends? Do I see any evidence of like traps around these items, or does it look like?
It doesn't seem like there's any traps.
Okay.
Yeah. Hannar definitely with his scan roll
I didn't.
would have picked up on traps. So whatever dispatched of these intruders, it was maybe the crones, maybe something else. Like, it's hard to tell.
Yeah,
The Order of the Ghost Bird.
it could be. Someone has been down here protecting these things, and could still be.
Well, if it's who we sent back here, I'm not certain I'm concerned. But I am worried for their well-being.
Yes. And if it's not them, we may want to be concerned.
Yes. These quite beautiful. Not very strange.
It is a shame, you're right, Hannar, that they're locked away down here. Well, not locked, but so far from anyone that would appreciate them.
I would love to have these be seen again one day, if for nothing else than to prove to our peoples that we have shared history.
It would be. Well, perhaps someday we could return and bring these back. Maybe
With
take
the
them back to
proper
Rivendell
permissions,
or
of course.
down to your city to see the rest of the elves off into the sea.
Perhaps somewhere a bit more accessible to your people.
Well, we can get there.
Yeah.
It's not forbidden or whatever.
No,
You know.
I would like that. Darren, dear, where have you gone? Aerlind
There.
just looking around.
Brandy's like crouched over one of the dark spots and just, examining it. There's been violence committed in this place.
Oh, there you are.
I think I'm gonna go and check out kind of the next. So it's another open doorway further in.
Yeah. And as you kind of go in there, you realize that it is an entry to a. Siri's about to get super confused. Okay, there. Sorry. I was looking things up on my phone and Siri was activated. That would be bad. To a large staircase that starts heading up, but it's not like a regular staircase that goes like up the center. It sort of weaves and then it disappears. So it kind of goes, it seems like it kind of goes throughout the building, like maybe goes around to the outside, or it's hard to say. So unlike the staircase that you came down originally, that is like total normal medieval staircase that like spirals around a central point, this one goes up and then kind of disappears in a curve.
Okay. Well, I think we're going back up.
Let's resurface.
Yeah, I suppose.
Bit relieved we're not going further.
Though we should keep
Upstairs.
an ear out. That ghost bird is supposedly here somewhere. Maybe.
I suppose it makes sense. From our perspective, we came down and we expected to find something down here at the bottom, but from the perspective of when this place was built, this would be the entrance.
Yes.
Yeah, and you do actually, there was, as you're going around the outside hallway, there was like you could see the points of other towers that were like the one you came down. One of them's two of them are completely collapsed and similar to that. So.
Well, let's start up the way.
All right. And yeah.
Are the walls along the stairwell also decorated?
Yeah, just like tons of beautiful carvings. Some of them are more kind of random things. It seems like this is less of a story than just there's like a lot of birds and a lot of kind of like just scenery and just beautiful decoration in this part.
Nice.
Are they birds and scenery local to this area, kind of? Or do they look
No.
like... Okay.
They're not
So-
huge swans.
Not in this part, no. No, like you actually very clearly see things from like all over Middle Earth. There are things that are clearly like of the Blue Mountains and parts up near like where like Elrond and where Rivendell is now. This is obviously pre-Rivendell, but so like all of this and just there's parts that are showing the sea and seabirds and things like that. Birds definitely are kind of a theme throughout. And
We ascend.
Yeah.
Let's keep marching.
all right.
Yep.
As you go, you're going to see different like doors and room on different sides. And I'm going to leave it up to you if you decide to enter them or not. As you go up, the first one you kind of see is a. These actually have doors on them too. This one's beautifully carved, and it has. This one does have like two large like swans on both sides of it, and on the door itself are carved just like beautiful birds of all different types from all over Middle Earth. It's just a stunning piece of artwork. And they all, it's almost like Audubon, sorry, like where he
Oh,
does,
mhm.
yeah, where he
Mhm.
does this beautiful, like very accurate, but also like very beautiful artistic drawings of them, except they're carved. So these are not stylized. These are like made to look like these real birds, and down to like the feathers and the proportions of like some of them have like wings open with like their beautiful flight feathers showing, just all over this doorway.
Is the door stone or wood?
The door itself is very fine wood,
Okay.
but there are carvings in the stone around it as well.
Is the door... Does it show any sign of anyone having entered recently? Does the door open in or out?
The door opens inward into the room.
Yeah.
And it does seem like a lot of you would expect there to be a lot of dust on this stairway and things like that, and there's not a lot of dust, and there's not a lot of dust on like kind of the entryway on the floor for this door.
If nobody stops me, I'm gonna
Interesting.
knock on the door.
Aerlind's like, I need this door. Probably what's inside as well, but the door.
Please.
You just knock.
Just knock.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think as you do that, Eriador's like, wait! A little too late.
Too late.
Just slightly too.
She does this.
Yeah, she does. You can hear kind of like the hollow echoing in the room beyond, but there's no sound, or like there's no answer, and you don't hear any rustling or movement in there.
Is it locked?
It is not.
Okay, let's go in.
Okay.
Right behind her.
Beyond that, you go in. This door is on the outside of the tower, so the stairway goes to the inside of it. So the outside wall of the tower is part of this room, and you can see part of it's caved in, and muck from the swamp has kind of filled part of this room. It's sort of stopped itself up, so it's not like completely filled with that, but it's done a lot of damage. There are similarly carved like furniture around this room that have those birds all over it of different types. And
My brain. Never mind.
okay.
Uh-oh.
And but a lot of that is now like covered with mold or completely disintegrated because of the moisture that's been in this room.
Okay.
One of the most interesting things about the room is on the ceiling are painted like this beautiful fresco of like the sky with birds flying. So
This is beautiful, Kimi. That's
it's
awesome.
so pretty, yeah. And yeah, it's hard to tell. It looks almost like this was made to be like a bedroom.
Okay.
So it's hard to tell. Some of the furniture's fallen apart, but there's like what is very clearly a dining table with beautiful chairs and all these things. Nothing's set, so there's not like plates out, like something terrible happened. And there's nothing like no fabric or anything. It seems like none of that was put here at any point. But there's the base wood furniture of what would be very clearly a living space of some type.
Are there any signs of things or people going in and out of this room?
There are. So again, I'm not going to have you roll because you're a ranger, you'd notice these things. Most people would notice these
Hey.
things. Hey. But yeah, it's very clear that someone or something has been using this room. Whether it's like there's a pile of things kind of in the corner that are kind of just basic living things. There's a like pottery, and if you go look, there's like some dried food and things in there. So this living space was made for someone a long time ago. Someone has been using it much more recently, like this week. So there are some things. It looks like there's a cot in the corner that's put on like some straw and things like that. Very humble. And none of it is things from this place. So whoever has been living here is very specifically chosen not to break or take things from this palace. They've brought things in.
My friends, look. I believe someone has taken up residence in this ruinous, cavernous, beautiful room. And points to the pottery, the little cot, all those things.
It would make sense that our ghost bird would roost in such a decorated
Bird-themed
room.
enclosure.
Aerlind was not paying attention until suddenly everyone was talking again. Aerlind was staring at the table, just locked on that table.
Beautiful.
Having big thoughts about home decor for his very empty home. Big brain. Yeah.
You host such great parties with that table.
We think this is the ghost bed.
I would suspect as much.
They seem to be quite humble as far as means of living.
From the what was her name? Mother.
Oh, yeah.
From the crone.
The
The
crone.
lead crone lady.
What's the crone lady's name?
Mother Windrith.
Mother.
Mother Winfrey. Two sessions.
yeah. From Mother Windrith's description, it seems as if they are more a servant of the area, so I would expect them to live humbly. So
Especially if they've been doing it for hundreds of years, maybe? I mean,
I'm gonna go and smell, like sniff the cot and the things. Does yeah, right. Does the smell remind me of anything?
I'm gonna have you roll scan for that. That's like very specific.
What, you don't want to lick a stranger's bedroll?
Okay. I have 2 in scan plus the D12. And I rolled a 5 and 3 on the D6s and a 3 on the D12 for a total of 11.
Okay. And what's your target number above that for wits?
My target number for wits is 3.
Oh no, what's your wits number above?
It's 17. I'm sorry.
Okay. Yeah. So you don't quite make it. So the marsh and just the smell of the marsh having like filled up so much of this room is so permeating. It's hard to know. There's something that smells a little familiar, but also you spend a lot of time in kind of outdoor marshy areas. So, but yeah, so nothing that like is super specific about that.
Anything.
Smells of the swamp around us.
I think everything smells of the swamp. I think I smell of the swamp.
I think we all do at this point.
It's a nice smell.
Is it?
I'm neutral on it. At any rate,
Someone
our
is
ghost
used to
bird
it.
friend does not appear to be home unless they are further up in the palace.
I wish I could take this whole room back in time.
It must have been stunning when it was built.
do all of these birds have a special significance to the elves?
Kimmy, do all these birds have something to do?
No, it's really interesting. It's just a lot. Like there's some birds that are like, but some of them are just like something as common as sparrows.
It's clearly someone who just likes birds the way that
Really
Aerlind
loves
likes
birds.
trees.
Yeah.
Got it.
Sure. All right.
They're just, they're the birds of the world. They're from everywhere. There's no great swans, and I don't mean ghost swans. I genuinely mean great swans.
Also unusual in dwarven craftsmanship to decorate with birds.
That is very true.
We don't have very many.
These are.
Occasionally one gets in, and then it's just a nightmare.
I've never.
What about
considered that.
bats? Are there many bats in dwarven culture?
Oh, indeed.
Right.
Fascinating.
But even they leave at night.
They come to us. Well, shall we continue upward?
If this is the first floor bedroom accommodations, I can only imagine what's going to be up higher in the tower.
Depends on if the Lord wished to ascend the tower to go to bed.
All right. So you continue up, and a little bit farther up the stairway, there's another door. Around this door are beautiful elves carved. Just like stunning, like how the Greeks carve like pinnacles of their culture, like the ideal person. Like these are the pinnacles of elves. They don't represent specific elves. They are like the idea of the perfect elf.
We found Hannar's elves.
Yes. Yes, exactly.
This is what I'm telling you.
Yeah, and they are there, and this door on it has a map of the outline of Valinor and also Middle Earth. Excuse me.
Amazing day.
So again, like more artistic representations of these things. These aren't made to be used as maps, but they are the ideal. They are an idea of these things.
I do love a good map. Does this door look like it's been used?
Yes, this one does look like it's been used a lot too.
Okay.
This place sees more traffic than I would have expected.
Especially so deep in the ground.
Yeah.
Many steps.
Not wanting to be impolite, I'm gonna knock again.
Yeah. I think that's entirely the right choice.
Yeah, you hear again like that echo.
Mm-hmm.
This one has a strange kind of resonance to it. So you knock, and it's almost like when you hit a tuning fork and it runs for a long time, and you almost can't hear it anymore.
Ooh.
Like you knock, and there's like this kind of ringing sound throughout the room beyond, and then it kind of rings and kind of silences. Like in the same exact tone as the door.
Okay.
Like the note of the door somehow like resonated, almost like a drum.
I think Aerlind tries to hum the note for just a moment longer, kind of holding on to it, thinking about it. Is it like a common tone, or is it just a beautiful noise? Is it a tone that reminds me of something?
It might. It's not like a specific note from something, but it definitely reminds you of if you've spent time in elven cities for rooms that were made for music, that have this perfect acoustic build to them, and that they have a similar kind of sound, ringing sound to them.
Cool.
This is a room for stories.
Well, we're definitely
The
have to go
library,
in there.
then?
No, room of song.
Oh,
Songs.
how delightful.
Yeah. Is the door locked?
No.
I'm so glad they're not locked. It would be like
We would
an
be here forever.
existential crisis of like, do we
I
check
mean,
the
I
door
do
now?
have lockpicking
Wanna do
skills,
that?
but
I want you to
that seems rude in here.
yeah.
I think realizing what else going on, Aerlind just pushes the door open.
Okay.
Yeah.
Push it open, and this room has a very distinct like dome shape to it. And in the center there is a single marble. It's not a throne, but it's not just a chair, but it's like an in between there. So, and it's facing the doorway, and it's like perfectly in the center, and it's raised a bit. So there's a few steps up to sit in this chair here. And it's made of white marble. And most of the walls here actually don't have any carvings on them. There are a few places that have like wood, and it's been carved into shapes, but it's hollow on the inside. It's basically like sound traps to keep things from echoing. So the sound goes kind of up into the ceiling. With this like perfect kind of acoustic echo. And as you walk into the room, you hear that perfect echo of your footsteps as you come in this room. And you do notice as you come in, though, there are a ton of little offerings similar to what you saw down below. And on top of this, this seat is this dark black woven cloth that has knots in it. So it's like, it looks like someone like slashed the cloth and then tied like with a knife, and then tied a piece of cloth in the holes that the knife's made. And there, it's a huge piece of cloth. You can still kind of see through it. It's like black cheesecloth almost. And there are just hundreds and hundreds of these little knots on this cloth that is draped over this chair.
So like someone slashed up this fabric and then repaired it?
Not repaired it. Like tied a separate piece of cloth in it, like in a knot.
More like
Oh.
decorating a slashed garment with other pieces of
Yeah,
fabric.
yeah.
Okay.
It's more ritualistic. So someone's
Gotcha. Okay.
made a hole in there, or like you slash a knife, you get two little holes. They put a piece of other cloth through those and tied a knot.
I see.
So it's just like this wave of different knots of all different fabrics. None of them match the underlying cloth, and it's draped over this chair in the center of the room.
Perhaps it's some accounting of the history of the protectors of this place.
What a strange use for this room.
Well, if there's no one to sing in it anymore.
Does it appear that there's anything under the cloth on the chair? Oh, okay.
Yeah, you can kind of see through, and there's just a chair there. Very nice chair. It's beautiful chair. As you say that, Varandir, it just like echoes perfectly. Hello, 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 hello. And like it perfectly fades.
Aerlind hums the same note that resonated in the room before.
Yeah, it perfectly echoes and then like fades off perfectly.
I wonder when the last time someone sang a song of any story in this space.
We could make it now.
Does it seem like this room is made for the enjoyment of people or a person in this room? Or does it seem like it is designed to help project elsewhere?
It's a very good question.
Asking the smart question.
Yeah. You get the feeling, and as you're talking and kind of being musicians, as you're talking, that the perfect place to listen in this room would be this chair in the center. So it's not made to project sound; it is made to listen.
So it's not like, for lack of a better description, at a science museum where they have the chair in front of the big parabolic arc,
No,
and then there's another chair all the way across the museum
Yeah.
in front of another one, and you can talk back and forth to each other. It's not like
no. And because the dome is above it, so
cool. Well,
like,
yeah, but
yeah, no, I get it.
cool. I just wanted to be sure.
Yeah.
We've had problems with things that see at the distance. I didn't want to have problems with things that talk at a
Did
distance.
here, yeah.
Yeah.
Good point.
That would have been smart. Like if I thought of that. No, I'm just kidding.
I think as Hannar's having very smart thoughts, looking first at Runa and then at Badendir, Aerlind just starts singing.
Okay.
And specifically looking at Badendir starts to sing the Lay of Luthien.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
Yeah, it just rings and resonates, and the acoustics of the room are so perfect that even if, not that Aerlind would ever be flat or sharp on any note, but if you were, it almost like adjusts. It just like it makes the tones and the sound waves like just tweaks them just enough to be perfect almost at every point.
That means he just starts playing.
Yeah.
Singing it way wilder than I think he would ever sing it outside of this room.
Yeah.
What's the context of this song? Like, what does it sound like? And
It is a beautiful love song about figures both of high men and of elves, which is why he is singing it. It is the story of Beren and Luthien, and specifically starts with the moment they fall in love.
Yeah. They are way back lore. They are the ultimate like love story for that Tolkien wrote. And Arwen and Aragorn are kind of like a pale reflection. But
I see.
for how much it meant, like Tolkien had Beren and Luthien's names carved on his and his wife's tombstones. So that's like how deep that love story went for him. So they're kind of like for the elves too, like they are just kind of the pinnacle of what love means and like how it like goes against everything and how it can do anything.
And
Love conquers all.
I see.
And it's a sign of hope
Yes.
between the peoples, because even though it's a very sad story, and it's very sadly, but they are the first like known big grand love story between elves and men. And I think singing it and really feeling it and being in the space, Aerlind begins to cry.
Yeah. Berendur does too, definitely. Kind of doesn't want to, but starts leaking out. Starts doing one of these numbers.
Yeah. And Berendir, you would definitely know the story of Beren and Luthien. So that is definitely something you would know. And this echoes, and even as like the tears fall, there's just like this. I forget what it is. There's a specific. There's a name for a specific like frequency in singing that just has the visceral reaction of making people kind of tear up. Mm-hmm. And that's sort of what happens with like everyone in the room. You I'm not saying you have to cry, but you get that feeling where you kind of want to cry, like in your chest, that little tightness, like when you hear this music. And yeah, it's just stunning in this room. So is anyone curious about the throne or the cloth or any of that stuff? I keep looking at Runa because Runa's our curious one.
Touch something, Runa.
You don't have to. You absolutely don't have to.
I think she's finally starting to learn her lesson about touching things.
Okay.
So I'm absolutely not sitting in that chair. 'Cause I
Okay.
know I'm super not supposed to.
Okay, with the stick instead.
Don't tempt me.
Yeah.
Is the whole chair covered? Like this fabric spills out on all sides of the chair, or is it just sort of draped from the front? Or does it have a back, or is it more like a stool?
Yeah, it has a
sort of thing?
back, and it's completely carved of marble. It's not a high back though, because it's a low back because it wouldn't want to mess with the harmonics. It's trying to be as low profile as possible while still being comfortable. The cloth is draped over almost all of it. But you can tell based on, because there is some dust, because it's been here for literally thousands of years, that the cloth is much newer than that. The cloth just has all the signs of being from the crones. And you can tell that it has been pulled up and pulled down many times. Just based on like the patterns on the floor of the dust and things like that.
I think I'd want to see the actual throne then. Like, I'll lift it up.
Okay.
In a similar manner, so it doesn't look like I'm dragging it through other dust or whatever. Yeah.
That's fine. As you're lifting it up, is anyone else close to the throne?
I don't think so.
Barendir, you're gonna get close to the throne with Hannar, or are you gonna stay back?
No, I think I'm close to Aerlind, whatever Aerlind is singing to me.
Okay. As you're pulling the cloth up, as you get close to the throne, you hear what sounds like singing. Like the most beautiful singing you've ever heard. It reminds you of the beauty you saw through the Palantir, but this is for your ears. And it sounds like, because you're kind of like reaching over the throne, it sounds like it's far off.
Did we hear that?
Can I understand the words?
Nobody else hears it. You might pick up certain words. It's in Elvish.
Yeah, I'm rudimentary.
Yeah, so that it might be like you pick up a word here and pick up a word there, but you probably don't get the whole thing. But it is stunning. It is absolutely beautiful.
Having revealed the actual chair itself, is there any inscriptions carved on it? Anything that I can see?
There is just a single Elvish word carved in the back of the chair.
Okay. I'm better at reading Elvish than I am speaking it.
Okay.
Or understanding the words.
Yeah, so the word is just listen and remember. Well, they're not words. Okay, multiple words. It says listen and remember.
I mean, that might be one word in Elvish.
It's not.
It's
Okay.
not.
I wanted it to be one word, but then I was like, no, I want it to be and remember. Remember is an important part of it.
Okay.
So.
I think I will lay the cloth not back over it, but down the backside, and I'll probably turn to Aerlind and I'll be, you need to be here. Come.
You get 1 point of hope.
Wow. Yeah, Aerlind, Hannar calls him over. He's gonna go.
I'm not good enough to understand what it is telling me.
It says, listen and remember.
No. Come closer.
Right. And is going to lean in as Hannar guides to the throne. And I think that they think that they're like looking at an inscription or something like that.
Yeah.
And they just kind of lean in closely and start to study the details of the throne.
Yeah, and as you lean in, you start hearing the singing too. And it is the elves of Eregion. And they are singing full of joy in that time between the defeats of Morgoth and the rise of Sauron, when they thought that evil had really been banished from the world. So it is a song of such pure beauty and joy that you also get a hope point.
Amazing.
Yes.
And I think on top of that, the song of it washes over him. And this almost crushing doubt that has been sitting with him since well before touching the Palantir is quieted for just a moment to feel the hope and to understand what the Twilight truly means. Because hearing the joy that they all have is not something that Aerlind has ever heard.
No. Yeah. This is like such a pure, like utter joy of like evil is gone forever from the entire world, and everyone truly believed it. And these are the songs that they wrote to celebrate that. And these are the most, like, the incredibly beautiful elves singing this incredibly beautiful music of hope and joy.
And I think what was tears of missing Meren and longing for the love that he used to feel now becomes tears of almost like blind hope, just fully streaming down his face, and like he pulls out the tails that he's tucked up of his robe from under his cuirass and starts like patting his eyes. Wow. That's my people have not sounded so joyful in my whole life. What is distilled here is more than just song.
I'd probably gesture to both of you,
Yeah.
the others. Come.
Yeah, I think seeing
Yeah.
Aerlind so like struck by what he's experiencing, Runa would be super curious. Like,
Mm-hmm.
Well, Berendir probably speaks Elvish too, so
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'll crouch on in.
Yeah.
I just picture all four of us like crouched over this.
right.
Yeah.
Like, what's in there?
The Middle Earth version of sharing.
Yeah, an
AirPods.
earbud.
Yeah.
It's the best song you've ever heard.
Yeah. So Berendir, for you specifically, like this was for a people who have lost so much hope and who think that their legacy in the world is gone. Not gone, but like is finite, is ended. Like your line of kings has ended. This would be incredibly moving because you are, for generations, your people have lived under this darkness of having failed, of having been like the children of the people who betrayed the Valar, and then like some of them, escaped and made the right choice, but then many turned to darkness. Like there's just so many points in your people's history where like the frailty and the corruption of men was so obvious that hearing a time when there was no shame and no remorse for what your forefathers and forebearers did, like that would probably be just like existentially life changing in that moment, probably.
Wow.
Sorry, not to put anything on you, but just explaining how Rangers and the Dunedain might react to something like that.
Okay.
But you also could get angry. Like you also there's a lot of different ways that your character could react to that particular thing.
Yeah.
Maybe that also instills in you just how much your forebears screwed up. Like we could have had this. So I want you to think about that kind of for a few minutes while we pan to Runa. Runa, what are you doing as you're listening to this or whatever?
I mean, she doesn't speak Elvish, so she doesn't really understand, but gets the vibe of it.
There's no mistaking the vibe.
Yeah. I think after we've experienced kind of so much of the darkness slowly showing up in the world again, hearing this is a little bit of hope of the darkness has been expelled and it can be expelled again.
Love that. Yeah, you definitely get a hope point. And Berendir, you also get another hope point. But how are you feeling? What is your reaction and thought to this?
I think, yeah, it's as you said, where it's at first it's very beautiful and it's hopeful, but there's just part of Berendir that is angry about this and the world at large and this perceived sense of responsibility that he has and that he was born into because of his lineage, and just the surroundings and seeing the forging of the rings. It all just very much reminds him of how this darkness, even though we're in a place of beauty and in hope and the song is so beautiful that inevitably it leads into the darkness again, and how I think he says something to the rest of the fellowship too, where he's like, um, you know, this song is as much beauty as there is in this room. It's it's look at it. Where are we? When was the last time someone experienced this beauty besides us? This is a ruin. This is the depth sunken into the ground, buried. It's 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 just a facade. All of this. There is nothing here to be celebrated. This is our arrogance. All of our arrogance.
A moment of joy is not arrogance. I know it might seem so. I understand your frustration. But I can't help but see it the way it was meant to be. As something beautiful, as a moment of joy. And for all the darkness in the world, if we don't treasure these places and these joyful moments, it should all certainly come to darkness. And as Aerlind says that, he has written on the cover of his journal, Lasto Ario, which is listen and remember.
It is clear that someone has been tending this place and listening and remembering.
Yeah, just from like looking at it, you can make the assumption that the crones and the wise women use this as some sort of ritual space.
Sure.
Especially, you can imagine if a bunch of humans came across this room and sitting in this chair and didn't know what it was and didn't speak Elvish.
Just overcome.
Yeah. So this is definitely some sort of holy place to them, even if they have no context for what it really is.
Yeah.
I think Hannar will hum the tune just to make sure we all heard the same thing.
Oh.
Hmm.
I'm going to say that you did not.
Huh.
You each
Interesting.
heard,
Oh,
you
what?
Spicy.
you each heard individual songs that gave you specific hope.
I think Runa would start to hum what she heard out of curiosity to see like if it harmonizes with the part that Hannar heard. Like if layered, it makes a different song.
And it does.
Wow.
Now we're going to have to write down the...
Yeah, now we're writing a new song. Aerlind joins in. Brandy, would you at least hold that thought? Hold it as a memory for brighter days to come.
Suppose.
One day, you all here will be the last ones to know the Song of the Elves. And it would honor me for your people to remember. Anyways.
We just had a freak out moment.
Sorry, it's fine. I'm not going to call it out. If nobody else noticed, it's fine.
And I think Aerlind turns with that and walks out the door.
Can I call out for everyone?
Yeah, do it.
Yeah.
So that means that Aerlind has decided that he's eventually going to go to Valinor. Because this whole time, he hasn't been sure whether he wanted to go or not. But now that he said, someday you'll be the only ones, that means that he's decided, not sure when, but at some point, he's decided he will go to Valinor. That's a big character moment.
Huge growth.
Yeah, that's very big. Okay.
Oh.
All right. Very good. So yeah, if you.
Well,
Yeah.
I put the cloth back.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We reset the
Yeah.
room.
Yeah.
Aerlind doesn't. Aerlind walked out.
But yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
For sure. Take a minute.
I think with that, Aerlind finally does untuck their robes. We're dry enough now.
It's dry enough in here,
Yeah. All right. Continuing on, there are more rooms. Would you like to continue exploring all of these rooms? Are you enjoying this particular piece as players?
Oh, I'm
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm eating.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's
Okay.
no way I'm not going to check out the rooms as we go up the
Okay.
stairs.
No, I am a look in
Yeah.
every room game player.
I get it. Yeah,
And you made a look at every room character on top of
you
it.
did. You did.
Even just at the baseline of like, I want to make sure that we're not leaving someone in one of these rooms to come up behind us. Like,
Yeah.
the rooms are enjoyable and full of wonder, but
Yeah.
just yeah.
I mean, we can do the shorter, more abridged versions of the rooms if we're getting bored with the expanded descriptions.
Depends on what's in the room.
Yeah, it depends on what's in the room.
Yeah.
Okay.
If we have a room and it's full of muck, we're gonna leave.
Get Charles Dixon's descriptions of wallpaper. We can skip
Okay.
that.
Okay.
Let's,
But if there's something cool.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
Okay. All right. You go to the next chamber. Like continuing on up the stairs. This one has like water carved around the edges of it, and also the door. The door is kind of an interesting mixture of water in different states. Like it actually has like ice carved at the bottom, and then there's what look like waves, but then like there's another part that looks like very still water, like a lake or a pond, and there's like rain, and somehow it all is sort of like this flowing artistic rendition altogether. That doesn't make sense, but like it makes sense when you look at it, but it's just very cool and kind of a flowing, watery cacophony.
Just water, no boats.
Yeah, no boats.
Mm.
No boats, sorry.
That's
I
disappointing.
judge the artist.
Yes. Also this door opens. It is not locked. There's not actually locks on any of these doors. So like
Okay.
they're just like this like large like ring entryway handle.
Is there still a latch, or is it just sort of pull closed?
Yeah, there's like a little bit of a latch on
Okay.
it so that it's not like blowing open, but there's not like keyholes or anything on any of this.
It could be unlatched. I mean,
Yeah.
it's made by dwarves.
Yeah,
It's
sure.
not going to blow open.
No.
Do dwarves build doors that are air resistant?
Yeah, of course. If you tolerances are good enough on the edges, it fits perfectly, and then it'll not open.
I can imagine that there's some like, especially in like the volcanic mountains, there's probably like very
That's true.
drafts like that come
Yeah,
from
I was
the
just trying to
mountain.
picture like why.
All
There
right.
can be actually like a lot of wind in caves.
Yeah,
That's true.
absolutely. All right. As you come inside, there is this room looks like part of the floor has like kind of collapsed slightly, and the walls are still intact, but there is moisture all over this room. So like water has started seeping in. In the center of the room, there is what looks like a large marble basin. But it is it's kind of just mud in the middle now. You would recognize this as similar to some elves of great power able to look into basins of water and see visions of things. This may have been that once upon a time, but it is now filled. Like there's dirt and muck and stuff in the center here from that looks like it's dripping from the walls and things like this. And it's kind of on a pedestal in the center. There are some smaller carved that look like maybe seats around the edge, but like not like stools, like carved in the stone itself. And
A bit Hall of Fire, but for water.
yeah,
Hall
exactly.
of Fire from Rivendell.
Yes. And they're lower than the basin. So it was more like people would sit there and watch someone go
And
and
then listen.
yeah, and listen to what they said. Some of it is like cracked, some of it from the floor kind of listing. Yeah. This room has some like also accoutrement from the crones, but not nearly what the room of song had.
I think Aerlind was untucking their robes and then sees the slanted floor and like isn't gonna go in and then locks eyes on that basin and walks straight in
Okay.
and goes straight to the basin.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't say anything either.
Mm-hmm.
Just peer after you.
Yeah.
Did you find something important, Aerlind?
I'm not sure, and is gonna like try and like look and see if it's even like whole still, like
The basin is whole. It's now kind of at an angle. On the side, it says "see and remember," but like there's mud and muck and.
I think as much of an ego as Aerlind has gotten, I don't think that their ego is enough that they think that they would be able to see in a reflecting pool. And so I think that they just kind of pat the sides, note the words. This is a reflecting pool for someone of great ability to touch the fabrics of the world and see. And it says so. It says, just like the chair below, it said, listen and remember. This says, see and remember.
Interesting.
And interestingly, that word keeps coming up, Tyrio, to see. It's interesting.
Did
Is
you
it
see anything in it?
Muck. I am not so wise as to be able to do anything with that.
so it's a property of the user and not of the basin?
And the water and there's a lot of factors.
Perhaps it's a metaphor. See the muck?
I hear you. The only elves that I know of that have this ability are in Lorien.
It's a long way from where we are.
Indeed. Shall we? Before I get more wet.
As you go up, there is another room.
Weird.
Weird.
It's a tower.
It is a tower. This one seems. This one has like figures again. There's some human and there's some elves. There's even a dwarf on this one. Again, like representations of their people, not like specific ones. And if you go in this one, the door is actually kind of plain, and it has a singular like humanoid outline on it, like just the outline figure, sort of like the Da Vinci's like Adam.
Nubian man.
Yeah. But more of a study, sort of like how the birds were, like very accurate. This is like very accurate of a humanoid.
In we go.
Are we knocked this time?
Oh, do these rooms look like they've been frequented still? Like,
This one actually more than all the others.
ah,
Oh,
Why don't one of you knock?
I would definitely knock if it looks like people have been going in and out.
Okay. And I'm gonna have you roll scan for me.
Oh no.
Uh-oh.
Just Runa or
You can all roll scan.
not
Or
that
I
I'm
mean,
gonna succeed.
trying to see like if you hear something. I guess scan still or awareness, whichever one's better. Well, like you're actually listening specifically for something, so awareness is more like
Okay, so
passively.
I crushed
Yeah.
it and got a
Like, why are there
Tangwar.
picks in it if it's just listening?
yeah, you can do both. Either one, whichever
Yeah.
one's better.
I have a mark on awareness, but I don't remember what that means.
You roll
It's
favored?
So yeah, you get to roll favorites.
You
So you
roll
get to roll
two-
2d12s, and you pick the better one.
Ooh,
Fancy.
No, that's what I have for scan.
juicy.
I got a Tangor.
Okay.
And I succeeded.
Ah.
For once, instead of last time where I only got Tangors and then failed.
What is the sixes on the D6? Is that a Tangor?
Yes.
Yeah, that's like a super
Okay.
success.
Okay, so I got a Tangor and I got a 18,
Okay.
which is, I
Woo!
believe, a success.
Yeah. Hannar?
No.
No, okay. So Hannar coughs at that moment and doesn't hear what everyone else hears.
Yeah.
Yeah. You hear what is very clearly like someone swearing under their breath.
Aerlind wrinkles his nose.
Yeah. And then they're like trying to be quiet, like, and then they just start like sitting.
Aerlind just
Hello?
There it is.
Yeah.
Aerlind was gonna just look between Runa, and Hannar, not knowing that Hannar didn't hear it, and Barendir.
Um,
I think I probably
Show
started
yourself.
humming the tune under my breath.
I can. You are the trespassers here. You should show yourselves.
We're not hiding.
You are behind the door.
Beg to disagree.
Why don't we just open the door?
Open store.
In the center of this room, there's a very large carved table, and on it is carved heal and remember, like heal, like healing, not heal like on your foot, heal. And then on the walls are carved more like anatomical and like almost scientific carvings of different and different species on Middle Earth. And on the center of this table is what is left of the ghost bird. And it's a very angry looking, like the mask is pulled down and the feather cloak is pulled around them. But you do see like the what's left of the other stilt that you had is like leaning up against the side of the table, and there are like white pieces of cloth that are probably bandages, like sitting off to the side. But they've wrapped the cloak around themselves, so you can't really see them.
Friend, we mean you no harm. I know, that contrary to our previous encounter, that might seem strange. I am Aerlind of Mithlond, and this is Runa, Barendir, and Hannar.
Well met. My name is Kalia. It's like a bit of a femmy voice, but like a very large, strong build. And they reach up and they pull their mask up, and you can see like a feminine face, but like very scarred. And then like they kind of like push back, and you could see that she was in the middle of like bandaging her leg, and trying to heal from the damage that you did. Well, I suppose since I'm probably going to be losing my mantle soon, I might as well speak with you. Mother Wendrith allowed you passage?
She did. She escorted us part of the way, but it was quite far, so an otter brought us the rest of the way.
Oh yes, the otters. Yes, well, you did best me in battle and prove that you are worthy of entering the Great Hall. She looks like super kind of angry and disappointed at herself and like a little bitter about it, but like can't do anything about it now.
We would have been happy to have a conversation the other night, but things as it were, is there anything I can do to help?
She looks sort of baffled, like when you said, conversation would not have proven your worth.
There are other ways to prove someone's merit.
Also looks baffled, like,
It-
this is the way it has always been done in the Swan Fleet since time immaterial. There has always been a ghost bird that has been here to protect this place, protect the wise women, and make sure that those who enter these halls are worthy.
As there should be. This place needs to be protected. But
She seems like thankful. Like, yeah, see? Okay.
You've done a worthy job.
Right.
you may
We are worthy.
consider means other than fighting to test people who wish to pass.
She seems disappointed in you now. She thought you got it, and now you don't get it. She, like, looks at you, Barondir. Like, you are a fighter. You understand.
Yes, I do. But I am also somewhat of a healer, and you look like you're injured. Do you need some aid in that? Would you, please, could you?
She looks very conflicted at that. If I am worthy, I will survive.
And let me help you prove that you're worthy by helping you survive.
Very well. Your arrival here means that it may be what is fated. Clearly trying to, like, rationalize this for herself.
Yes.
This is the room of healing, so you may heal.
Very well. Okay, here we go. Oh, and I got a 15-16 with a Tengwar.
Awesome. So is that a success based on your DN?
And my 20, yes, it is.
Okay,
Very
okay.
much so.
Okay, awesome. Very good. So you are able to wrap her wound. And she is going to be, she's not like healed. There's no like magic healing in the system. It's very realistic healing, but at least the bleeding has stopped. And she kind of is able to, at least using her other stilt, she kind of starts using it almost as like a cane or a crutch, and is able to kind of get down off the table using that.
Now that the healing has happened, might we participate in the other rites of this room? To remember.
Well, she looks also a little baffled at that. This is where the wise women bring those who are ill and sick. Do you know of elvish customs or ceremonies?
Aerlind points to the table where it clearly says Nesto Ario. It says heal and remember.
Oh. Well, I don't know about that part. I just know that the crones, this is the room that they bring the sick and the dying if they think that there might be a chance to help them.
I think my greater question is, what do you know of this place?
Well, this is the holy site of the crones. They have their prophecies that they get from the chair, and they have their rituals that they do below for the seeing gods of light. And she continues to kind of recite what is very inaccurate interpretations of what these rooms are.
Mm-hmm.
So it is very clear that at some point the ancestors of the crones came upon this place and thought that they understood what these places were. And it seems clear that none of them read Elvish, and they didn't even know what these things said, like hear and remember and see and remember, heal and remember, are not something that she knew.
You're shockingly correct for clearly not having known the history. This is a room of healing. The place of prophecy is a place for listening.
Well, they hear voices there. I'm not allowed near the chair. But the matriarch of the crones will sit in the chair at certain times of the year and receive, like, prophecy from the great ones. And this room is, for whatever reason, if people are treated in this room, their wounds do not become foul. There's something blessed in this place.
Indeed.
And she's very earnest and, like, believes.
I believe that part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I believe that there's a chair that talks to people upstairs,
Yeah.
too. Now I need to go have a conversation with the chair.
No, she's talking about the music chair.
Yeah.
Oh.
So they see that as, like, they think it's prophecy. So that's what it is.
I thought maybe there was
Talking chair.
an upstairs place to sit and listen to direct sentences, not...
Oh. I mean, we haven't been there yet. I don't know.
Maybe.
Right.
She's not allowed to sit in any of the chairs, probably. So,
That's why she sits on the floor in the room with all the birds.
yeah.
How were you chosen for this?
It is a great honor, and when the ghost bird fails, another is chosen. All of us may challenge, and we fight together, and the victor, the one who is the strongest and the bravest, is chosen to take on the mantle
I see.
and protect this place and protect the crones and deal out justice to those in Swanfleet in the marshlands.
About how old does this...
It's hard to tell. She's had a hard life. So
Okay.
she seems like maybe like late 30s. But as you see, like, she underneath the cloak, she's wearing like traveler. She's got like leather kind of armor, but some of it's also just kind of traveling clothes. It's very old, and it looks like it's been on a lot of different body types, and it's been adjusted. And you can see that the parts of her skin you do see have lots of scars. I don't know what to do if I am merely incapacitated. She seems like very confused and like pondering like what to do if there's a ghost bird who's unable to fight but still alive.
Well, you haven't been defeated completely, so that means you are still the ghost bird. It is your responsibility to heal and to continue to protect this place.
Yes.
And to see the wisdom in your survival. Not every failure is death.
Must be part of the fated prophecy that I learn a lesson from this and continue. Yes. Yes.
And now
That's
you've
the
learned... Oh. And now you've learned how better to fight a dwarf.
Not from stilts.
Yes, that... Generally, they are much higher from the ground, the ones I fight. It was... Yes, and well done aiming for the legs. Generally, they go right for the beak. She kind of, like, smirks, like, foolish.
Where do you hail from, originally?
Oh, from the Swanfleet. We are chosen of the peoples born here. Who else would be able to make their way about? My childhood, I was here. And generally, we are of those who have no families and orphans.
And the crones come and stage a competition for finding a new...
Well, we seek out the crones.
I
It is a great honor to be the ghost bird.
I see.
So
So it's common knowledge in town.
that there is a ghost bird? And you
that
may
the ghost bird came from the village, and you may attempt to become a new ghost bird someday.
Oh. It is known that to prove one's worth, you may challenge the ghost bird.
Ah.
So many of us fight and hone our skills and in the village, and then the greatest of those is allowed to then challenge the ghost bird. The knowledge of then taking over the mantle of the ghost bird is not known. And I myself wasn't quite aware of it until I was a victor, which is a lot to learn in one moment, that as you savoring victory, you now have a new occupation. But it was a great honor, and having known the good that the ghost bird does in dealing out justice and helping others, it is I decided yes and took on the mantle. There may have been those that denied it and perhaps left the swamp. Actually, I can't see the crones letting someone just leave with that knowledge. She decides not to think about that too much.
Flailing that away
Yes.
later.
I'd probably pull out some of our elvish rations and food and hand it over, like, for your rest.
Oh.
Please.
Thank you. But I should warn you that this is perhaps where your journey should end. Even the crones have never been higher in the tower.
The crones don't know what this tower was built for.
They do not, evidently. They thought it was a place of prophecy from the gods. You're saying it is not?
Hardly gods. The architect of this place was someone very gifted. I would not call them one of the Valar. Even he would scoff at that notion.
You know him?
Hardly. I don't want to pale your understanding or love of this place. It is a wonderful place, and you are a worthy guardian.
Thank you.
If you wish to know more, I will answer.
I think I should know what the matriarch has taught me. That is my place, and that is my role as the ghost bird.
And I respect that. Know that, should you ever wish to know, all four of us have some understanding of what this place was built for. And if you let us ascend, we will leave with all the more understanding.
Yeah, you may continue. There are the stories of the sleeper.
Yes, the sleep. That's actually what brought us here.
As I said, neither I nor the crones have gone higher than this room. There are cursed gods above that have dark power, and I know more than one intruder and also more than one ghost bird have been lost trying to push forward. So whatever sleeps at the top of this tower does not wish to be disturbed.
Well, we've never let something like that stop us before.
Right.
We can't have come all this way just to turn around now.
And I would like to know what's up in that tower. Arandir?
Fortunately, it is my fate to accompany you three. So I suppose where you go, I go as well.
Don't sound so resigned. Aren't you a bit curious?
Yes, a bit.
Well, with luck, we will see you again.
Yeah, you have my sincerest hope for your survival. She does not look hopeful.
Great.
She's
Well,
yeah, it's just like thank you. That's very that's like bless your hearts. Like that
Yeah.
not like in the like screw you way, but like go team. Yeah, it does
well,
not
she
look
also thought she was gonna beat us.
Yeah.
Soundly,
accurate.
so,
Yeah.
So
okay. Yeah.
Apparently, most people don't even get past the ghost bird part of this challenge.
Yeah.
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 We're already ahead.
Yeah. So she like continues. She kind of like goes over, like there's like some chairs in another part of the room. So she's not on the table in the center anymore. So she seems to feel better because she's not there hoping to be magically healed. So well done.
We maimed and then saved the ghost bird.
She did insist upon being maimed.
Yeah, it's true.
Right. Just a simple hello. Let's have a talk about your intentions here. Could have saved that leg.
Yeah.
But
Because crones and marsh people are totally known for their logical approach to things. I mean, yeah, you're not wrong, but also tradition demands weird
also,
ritual
the
things.
dice decided that was
Yeah.
going to happen.
Yeah, accurate.
Kalia. This divinity above, besides it being slumbering, clearly, what do you know of it?
Well, there are two great statues before you even approach it. And there are many remains below. When I was new to being a ghost bird, there was even a fresh body there, but none of us approach it. It is a skeleton now. But you can see there have been many who tried to get past them and failed. I don't know what lies beyond.
And the body was just still. It wasn't charred or punctured.
Not that I could see. I did not get close enough to.
That makes sense, actually.
Yes.
Understandable.
And the crones have forbidden approaching it.
For good reason, it sounds.
Indeed.
Do you ever hear any sounds from above?
No.
It sleeps quietly then.
If it is the sleeper, one would hope. You sleep every day and no one calls you that.
That's true.
Is Aerlind saying Runa snores?
No.
Saying.
It's the platonic ideal of a sleeper.
Kind of where Aerlind's at.
Now I'm only more curious.
Yes. All right, then. Kalia, if we survive, we'll be back down this way hopefully soon. Or we've escaped through the roof. And if you hear a loud
You'll probably
tumbling,
be-
run.
yeah, or screaming.
Also screaming.
Well, I will tell the matriarch of your fate, whatever it may be.
Appreciated.
And thank you for guarding this place.
She looks a little bit feels like a failure, but I will do my best, as will those who follow me.
To our doom, then.
Every day.
Onward and upward.
Onwards indeed.
Carefully though.
Yep. Looking for statues?
Yep. So as you continue on up the stairs, you see these two, like, again, like very large, like slightly larger than accurate. More like what Hannar probably would imagine the great elves of old to be. They're like 10 or 12 feet high. They're not nearly as grand,
Telling you.
as the ones down below with the sun and the moon. These are carved of black marble, and in the shape of
That's
the elves.
ominous.
Yep.
And nothing scary about black marble. Come on. And then there are words carved like on the floor between them. They're on both sides of the stairs. And then it's in Elvish, and it says, let me bring this up so we can read it well. Let there be no sorrow, let there be no mourning, like mourning, like
Crying.
mourning for a person. Yeah. Let us dance once more before the world's ending. Speak your name, and that which is yours shall be restored. And then that's like as you're approaching them, and then you see between the two statues, there are in fact a bunch of bones. Like multiple people worth of bones.
Aerlind reads the text aloud for everyone to hear at the moment that they see it. Speak your name aloud. And what is yours?
Does this mean anything to you specifically?
Does it mean anything to me?
Roll scan for me.
Oh, God. Scan. So good at looking at things, guys.
I mean, or you can roll lore as well. That's fine.
You're the best.
It's okay. Because you're looking at these statues to see if you recognize them, so both are good.
Oh, I'm so glad I rolled favored. That's an I otherwise, but I rolled favored, so we're good.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
I succeed with a Tangwar.
Okay. It's a little hard to tell because they are black marble, but like looking at this is Celebrimbor, and then the other statue is the apprentice from the hallway down at the bottom of the thing.
Oh, that guy.
I don't trust this person.
Poor girl.
Aerlind looks to the one that's Celebrimbor and just stares at it for a very, very long time. And then looks to the other one, and specifically because downstairs he had pointed out the apprentice, points to it, and this is that protege again. I am very concerned and have been for a moment that is the sleeper.
I agree.
But not that.
Not the actual statue,
beyond.
the person.
Yeah.
Yes.
And you don't know their name.
I've never heard of this person.
Have-
Well, if they've never left this place, that would explain why.
Have elves been known to sleep for generations?
Not that I know of.
Hibernation isn't a thing,
No.
right? Okay.
The bones. Is there any sign of
Thank you.
Go ahead.
what caused the bones? Like, have they been here? They've obviously been here a while, but is there any particular like arrangement? Are there any blunt force trauma marks on like the skulls, or like are they broken? Like, what did they generally look like?
It
What can I tell
doesn't
from the
look like
bones?
that. It looks like they fell, like where they were, of just died instantly. Like there are no like bones that seem to be broken, other than like with age, or maybe like they hit the floor in their meat sacks, and then the meat sacks decayed. Like
Got it.
there wasn't nothing bad hit
asleep.
them first.
Alright.
Yeah.
They don't seem to be
Okay.
all dismembered and
No.
scattered about.
No, I mean, it looks like some of them may have got knocked over when someone else died there, but there's no, they haven't been through physical trauma that is apparent through their remains.
Something strange is afoot. Those remains, it's as if they fell and stayed there until they became what they are now,
As if their life was snatched from them.
or as if they were sleeping.
Oh.
Are there any like marks on the statues or like I don't know openings or things that look like poison gas might come out?
Permanent
I
sleeping
take my
gas.
10-foot pole.
Roll scan for
poking
me.
it.
Okay. It's like something has to be killing these people. I mean, it could just be magic, I guess, but
Aerlind is starting to walk closer to these statues, to be very clear.
No.
oh.
Tentatively. Just very tenuously. Uh-oh.
I did not succeed.
Okay.
The dice
Uh-oh.
said no. Nothing bad happened, but I just didn't succeed.
Then no,
Okay.
you don't see anything. As you get closer, Aerlind, you're feeling your body get heavier.
Huh.
Like it's kind of it's almost now like you're walking on like sand.
Mm-hmm.
Like that how you have to work harder to walk on sand than like solid ground.
Whole chestedly.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of abruptly, because he doesn't announce that he's feeling this feeling, but the moment that it sinks in that there's something other than just I'm tired and it's been a long day of walking, he shouts his name. I am Aerlind of Mithlond. I am here to see the sleeper.
It echoes like in the hallway very dramatically. But
Aerlind
nothing
looks
yet.
to the statues.
And the feeling does not dissipate.
All right. And Aerlind turns tail and starts to walk backwards. There's something... Sorry. I was trying something. It was a mistake. Right there, and Aerlind points to, like, just 5 feet ahead of them. I began to feel lethargy take me.
Specifically, did you yell your name in Elvish?
I mean, Aerlind is Elvish.
Well, yeah, but the rest of the...
No, but I could... It's not that different. And everyone's name is their name, I would assume.
Sure.
Who makes a riddle in languages? I'm gonna shade Tolkien for a minute, it's fine.
I'm going to say, I want you. This is like a moment that there's not exactly a thing. I'm just gonna have you roll like.
Riddle? Lore?
Riddle would be fine. Lore too. Either one of those things.
Please, lore.
You can pick which one. Yeah, it's fine.
Made a very literal character. Riddles are not
it's
his
fine.
strong suit. In the tray. Oh, wow. Okay. We are in business. That is a success with 2 Tangwars.
It suddenly
Oh,
occurs to you that in your bag you have the handwritten history of
I do.
Middle Earth from Lord Elrond.
Ah. Pull that bad boy out. I like in a flurry, like pack down, rummaging through the bag immediately, find it, unwrap it from the leather that's keeping it safe from all the water,
Yeah.
and
Start flipping through
Yeah.
it. And you do get to the part that speaks of the making of the rings. And it speaks of Celebrimbor and his apprentice, Calameldon.
Oh, Meldon. Middle Earth Wikipedia to the rescue.
And that's not going to be in there.
Aerlind is like frantically flipping through the book and like stops, finger down the page, pointing at Tangwar runes that only 2 other people in this party can truly read. Calameldon.
Oh.
And points to the statue of the apprentice. That's the Calameldon is their name.
So,
Right.
so we need to speak their name.
Yes.
Their names.
Ray, what were
plural.
you going to say? Sorry, I want to make sure we're not, because you're not here. It's hard to hear sometimes.
So that's okay. Don't worry about
No, what were you saying?
I was going to say, right. Are we ready to meet this Lemendron?
I would love a word. Hannar?
Yes. I. Hmm.
What's troubling you?
No, I still fear ending up as our predecessors here.
Mm-hmm.
You went as far as you did and were able to come back. Perhaps these people were alone if they succumbed to the lethargy that you described. There was no one to pull them back.
It's my studies that have led us to this point, so I am going to walk back through. Please pull me back if I start to slow down.
I'm gonna tie a rope around you.
Yep.
Perfect. Yes, absolutely. Aerlind just lets this happen. And into the slow threshold. The moment that it begins to sink in again, does it?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to assume it does.
Yeah, you start feeling that.
Aerlind says with a very similar gusto, less panic this time. Celebrimbor and Calameldon, we beseech your knowledge.
The minute you say Calameldon, you feel it like it just disappears. It's almost like you stumble forward because it is just suddenly gone.
I'm assuming you feel that.
Yeah, probably on the rope.
Yeah.
I'm like, are you okay? Did it work?
Yes, that's the name. Calameldon.
Okay. Magic word.
Step lightly. Points to the bones as Aerlind steps around them.
Yeah, and Runa will go next now that we know what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Do I start to feel the same
Yeah,
lethargy?
you start to feel that same feeling.
And she'll just call out, Calameldon.
And
that is so cool. It works.
That's a terrible bit of magic.
It is quite terrifying.
Why would they have crafted such a thing?
Safeguards. Not sure what.
I'll hustle after.
okay. And
as well.
yeah, okay. You all get through, and yeah, you kind of have to step over the bones of many people. Yeah,
Morsels that just didn't know.
Yeah, and some dust
right
that may at once have time been bones, like thousands
It's been
of
a
years.
while, yeah.
Yeah, and you get through there, to what used to be like a balcony, and it had like a shade that was like in it, but then it was like a large window that must have been a beautiful view at one point. But it now like the marsh kind of came in and then hardened. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of sealed a little bit near the top. You can kind of see like a little bit of light. Like this must be like, now that you've come up through most of the tower, you're probably about the surface of the marsh. So there's a little bit of light coming in there. Yeah, there's some stairs. Like you come in and it's like, it's a kind of a half circle shape. So like this large balcony, and then up on the opposite side, kind of parallel to where you are, there's stairs going up to what would be the rest of kind of the circle that is on another level. And here, this is like like beautifully decorated for like what you'd expect at like a beautiful patio. There are lounge chairs and elvish kind of style like fainting couches and things like that all over this space. And again, like birds, like lots of beautiful like carved birds everywhere. And yeah.
Does it look lived in? Yeah.
It looks like it was made for someone to live in and it was never used.
Dusty?
Very. Mold in different places because of the moisture.
Are there any remains in here?
No.
Okay.
I mean, it looks like there's like bits of like animals maybe have crawled through or things like that, but no
Not people that
Yeah.
made it through the statues. Okay.
There's some cobwebs and
Bat
stuff.
guano.
Yeah.
Well, we've made it this far.
This is not my forte, this part.
I'm gonna carefully move forward and check the stairs for traps. And if I start feeling weird, yell.
Okay. You do not.
Okay.
Um,
The stairway looks
unused.
unused.
Yeah, there is dust all over it, cobwebs. It looks like there might be some little nests of some sort of rodent in different parts of it.
Okay.
And then at the top, it's a very short staircase. It's like maybe like 7 or 8 steps. And it goes up and there's a beautiful, like the other doors in this building were beautiful, but this one is just stunning. And it has it looks like a sunset with birds flying in front of the sunset. And it's a double door. And this one is locked.
Ah.
And it's just like carved around the edges. And there are 2 C's, like in Elvish in Tegwar. It's the equivalent of the letter C, but there's 2 of them and they're entwined and they're carved around the edge of this door.
What type of lock is it? Does it look like it takes a key?
It looks like it. Yeah, it would take a key.
Okay.
Is there some significance to the C's?
It's someone who was obsessed with their master. Celemeldon, Celebrimbor. Obsessed.
Do you think this place was made as a monument after the master was lost?
I don't think so.
This very much predates Celebrimbor's death.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Wasn't it? It was said to be created to protect his greatest treasure.
Oh. No. Maybe Celebrimbor wasn't as lonely as we all thought he was.
This may just be a tomb
Or a monument.
or a monument. How do we feel about me picking this lock?
I think you should do it.
That's all I needed to hear.
We went up a lot of stairs to get to this point.
Just wanted to make sure it wasn't rude. The elf
It
said
may
I could.
absolutely be rude, but it's happening.
But it's happening.
Ariel said I could.
I consulted with an elf. I swear it's fine.
Yeah.
Let's see. I'm gonna try to pick the lock.
Okay.
Dice, please behave. And I'm gonna use a hope point.
Okay. Sounds good.
Do it. In fact, can we also add a fellowship point to this? Oh, so
That does the-
that
Yeah,
replenishes your
that
hope point.
replenishes
Yeah.
the hope point.
Yeah, there
okay.
you go.
Come on, lock picking. Ooh. That's a real good thing that the dice those dice said good things because that one didn't do a good job. But I succeeded very well with the Tanguar, despite this one's best attempts.
So you pick this lock, and you hear it click, and then you hear what sounds almost like gears from inside both of these double doors, like click, 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 like moving, and then there's like a boom and like a puff of dust from around the edges of the doors, and then they kind of swing open inward with like a great creak. Like these things have not been opened in generations, and you walk into a beautiful room that is covered in white marble, and this one does have drapery all over it. And somehow through time, the drapes and this beautiful elvish cloth has not really like deteriorated. It's still hanging perfectly. Beautiful white marble floor, and in the center of this room there is a what looks like a glass casket with a figure laying in it, and in front of there is almost like a music stand type thing with a large like a book on top of it.
Queer Elvish Sleeping Beauty now. Okay.
Yes, good.
Book is definitely going to be looted. Since already.
Aerlind?
Right. Inside this glass casket, the body looks well kept, preserved.
Like a sleeping,
Great. Okay.
a incredibly handsome elf with long golden hair and looks like he's sleeping. Like you can see that from far away. Like it's like crystal. So
Very tenuously, Aerlind steps into this room. And looks at the person in the case. Do they resemble the statue?
yeah, absolutely 100%. It's Celebrimbor.
And then is going to go to the book that is there. Read it. Yeah.
It is closed, so you have to open it first, and it is like metal. It has what feels like wooden binding that's covered with a very fine layer of gold, and it has the symbol with the two C's on it again. And you open it, and it's handwritten, and it's basically from Celebrimbor. And it says, if you are reading this, you have woken up. It is my sincerest hope that I will be reunited with you again, my love. Much time has probably passed. We know now that the serpent who bit you was one of darkness, which is why you were not able to heal, even with the great abilities of our people. I have had my dwarvish allies build this tower to protect you in your sleep, in my hopes that someday, when the world is at peace again, I will be able to dedicate the time to healing you, so that you may once again awaken. Till then, rest well, my darling. You will always be in my heart. Celebrimbor.
At this point, Aerlind's just crying. Just dead face, standing there reading this book, crying. Oh. Aerlind closes the book. Takes a long look at Celebrimbor.
You see on his hand a stunning ring. that is very clearly made of mithril, and is in the style of the forged rings of before.
We need greater healers than we have among us.
Could any restore?
Celebrimbor was bitten by a serpent of darkness and was placed here for safety.
If the ancient elves and the greatest crafter the elves have known in thousands of years had no way to restore him, what hope do we have today?
There are great healers among our peoples.
It has been a long, long time. It's not impossible.
I mean, should we transport him back to Mithlond?
That's a long way. I feel that he only needs a little while to get on a ship
Indeed.
and hopefully
I'm also going to point out that you would know that Lorien's closer than a lot of other places.
Lorien's really good.
Yeah, sorry.
I just don't know people in Lorien.
Well, my thought is like, do we put him on a boat
Yeah,
in the case, and perhaps he gets help when he gets to Valinor?
he doesn't need help in Valinor.
Well,
There's no pain in Valinor.
if that's the hope to restore him.
And his love. Hopefully it's not a long wait in the halls of Mandos.
Okay.
I just don't know how to bring this case without changing anything.
I'll investigate, the edge of the plinth and see if there's any.
It's sitting on top of a marble cart.
But it doesn't seem connected in any way.
No, not in the way.
Sorry, it's a bug. It's trying. Okay.
Defeated
Is there
by this.
anything else of interest in the room, like besides the glass pan and book?
On the walls, it seems almost as if this was made specifically for Celebrimbor's interests. Evidently, he really loved birds.
Go figure.
Yeah, go figure.
Yeah.
But there are also books and like more things that Celebrimbor wrote and had for him here. So if you look around, there are like paintings that were done of places that Celebrimbor really loved. There are like funny stories about it seems at one point Celebrimbor wanted to fly so badly that he was very clearly an incredible crafter, almost to the ability of Celebrimbor, because he was like the protege, that he tried to create mithril wings, and they were only somewhat successful at flying. So he really he loved birds. And it seems that he also like at one point helped design like specific anchors for some of the ships and things like that, as a metalsmith, just beyond anything that probably exists today. And there are also some more kind of like it's not quite a diary of Celebrimbor, but it's more like musings, like longer, like this is what he wanted Celebrimbor to know when he woke up. And it's basically kind of describes the forging of, like, they were working on forging the rings, and it seems that Celebrimbor and Celebrimbor were falling in love, and that Sauron wasn't pleased with the delays. So, like, what happened was Anatar / Sauron took the form of a snake and bit Celebrimbor to try and get him out of the picture so that Celebrimbor would focus on forging the rings. So Celebrimbor did not actually see the rings completed. And then there's a passage that Celebrimbor is talking about the ring that Celebrimbor forged to make himself fall asleep. And there's it's very personal. It's like more letters to him, talking about, upset that Celebrimbor didn't want to go to Valinor because it seemed clear after it wasn't healing, like, okay, we'll just send you to
just get on the
Valinor.
boat.
Yeah. And Celebrimbor did not want to leave. He did not want to leave Celebrimbor, and he did not want to leave Middle-earth at the time. So he forged his own ring to make himself sleep. And so Celebrimbor found him here in Swanfleet, because this is where Celebrimbor went to try and find a place to sleep, where Celebrimbor wouldn't put him on a boat to leave. And instead, Celebrimbor built this around where he had fallen asleep. So Celebrimbor doesn't even know that this tower is here, if he wakes up.
Yeah.
So it's the ring.
And this is not
Friends.
this glass case.
Yes.
Is it really our place to interfere with his resting place?
This is not permanent rest.
But when he wake up, it'll be a completely different world from what he knew.
And the person who erected this tower and wrote all of these letters and strove so wholeheartedly to bring him back into the world will be in Valinor.
But according to these letters, he didn't want to go to Valinor. Do you think sending him there or waking him? What is the answer here? Right.
He wanted to stay for love. And from what I can tell, his love is gone. And to that end, it seems as though that was his purpose. Oh. I hear your wisdom. I fear that waking him would be the death of him. But if we send him to Valinor, he will live. And I will not leave him here as the rest of my people leave these shores and sever him from ever being able to see Celebrimbor again.
That certainly seems a terrible fate.
Yes.
Well,
So do we...
as I see it, we can take him with us when we leave this place and bring him to those who would get him to Valinor, or we leave him here where he's safe until we find someone to take him to Valinor.
Or do we take him somewhere to see if we can heal him so that he may journey of his own choice?
Then we need Lothlorien. And the deeper knowledge of the elves.
That seems wise to me.
All right, then. They leave him to rest for now. And we strive to wake him to ask.
Or at least find out if anyone thinks they might be able to help.
Yes.
At the very least, his people will know where they are, where he is now.
Yes.
From what I can tell, no one has known for centuries who he is or why he is here.
I think Celebrimbor kept him a secret. I would.
Yes.
Are there any left here that were here at this time?
Yes. In Lorien.
Oh.
Well, and you've met others. Lord
Elrond.
Elrond, Círdan.
Right.
Yeah.
Perhaps we dispatch letters in all directions.
Yes.
One of them may have come to some knowledge.
Along the roads, up the river, everywhere we can get them.
Agreed.
And we warn the ghost bird. There will be more. More
Always.
outsiders. And maybe try not to fight them.
They won't be able to get in.
We'll tell them how.
Tell the ghost bird how.
No!
We'll tell whoever we send letters to.
Oh, yes, of course.
All right. And Aerlind stares at that glass case and has like a whole moment.
He looks just like very peaceful, sleeping. You can see if you look very closely, like down by his ankle, there are like 2 dark puncture wounds. Yeah. And then that beautiful ring.
And he looks absolutely nothing like Meren and is Meren in this moment. And Aerlind turns and leaves the room with such determination.
Can I copy down the script on the ring?
There is no writing on this ring.
Oh, okay.
It sort of is in the shape of it almost looks like wings of a bird, but it's just like wrapped around. It's just decorative.
Oh, okay.
So of the rings of power, the one ring was the one that had like script on it.
Okay.
So the elven rings didn't have script at all.
You said it was in the style of. I didn't.
Yeah. Sorry.
No.
Yeah. I was thinking the elvish rings. So that shot where they're like the 3 of them holding out their hands and that beautiful Galadriel ring, the shiny one. Yeah. So like that. So it's much more decorative. But it's mithril.
Well, it's not like I'm going to rob him.
No, I know.
just wanted to observe it.
No, I was more like the shining is like so beautiful and like beyond silver, things like that.
If I were another character in another game, 100% as soon as everybody leaves. It would have been a bad day.
Yeah.
But
No.
no.
Well, maybe both of you. Aerlind, you might know too. Eriador, you might know too, just because, like, as like the ancestors of those who've held the rings and those who kind of find a lot of shame in it. Generally, like rings have power, which is one of the reasons this part of the tower probably is still as strong as it is. But generally, if they're removed from the wearer, like they still have the power of the place, but that might wake them up if you wanted to speak with them.
I wouldn't want to do that until we consult others about helping with. Who knows how far the poison of this serpent progressed?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure he didn't just have this ring on hand ready to be like, oh, I've been bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No. Yeah.
What I do when I get bit by snakes.
Right. Immediately.
I'm sleeping.
Quick, put on the emergency ring.
Yes.
Man, imagine the implications of like using rings like that in battlefield medicine.
Yeah.
Like how you could just be like, okay, you're just in suspended animation. Go
Yep.
home and get
Yeah.
better. And
Mm-hmm.
wow.
I think seeing how Aerlind leaves the room, Runa would give them a minute and then follow out to make sure that he's doing okay.
He's sitting on the balcony, looking at this dusty, gross room.
Yeah. Then she comes and sits, like, near you in another chair. Are you all right, my friend?
Before we walked up here, I was on the precipice of thinking I knew what I was supposed to do next. And yesterday I thought I was on a different precipice of that same thing, and now I know. I didn't say enough when my friend was still here. I let days become years without enough words. And then I see this. And I would fly there myself if I could see him.
You will. Maybe you didn't say in words what you meant to, but I see how your actions speak for you.
I'm much louder now than I used to be, and I know exactly who to blame.
I am a bad influence.
An excellent one. Thank you, Runa.
Whatever I can do to help you get where you need to go, all you have to do is ask.
What an incredible journey this has been. It smells in here.
It does. I do hope that he doesn't have to wake in here. As lovely as that room is and filled with such beautiful things.
All right. Hannar.
I think Hannar will come out and close the door and see if he can relock it.
Yeah, and Berender's, you're coming out.
Oh,
I'm assuming we're not
Leave him
walking
in there.
there.
you stay here and guard him.
So you're the lost Numenorian now.
Yeah, I think I'll come out to the balcony. Just like, wow. Smells nice out here.
Oh,
I'm glad you enjoy it.
someone should.
Some were born for outside.
Well, I did not anticipate this would be a rescue mission. But I can't say I'm disappointed that it is.
I would like to spend some time analyzing, now that we can approach and get all around the Guardian statues,
Mhm.
to see if there's anything I could learn about how those were made or anything like that.
So you're, after everyone's out, you're closing and Dwarf locking the doors again.
Well,
Yeah.
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 Or I'd ask Runa, since she's familiar
Yeah.
with the mechanism, to do it.
Yeah, you go down there and it just seems like some sort of enchantments.
But there doesn't appear to be any, like, crafting marks of this enchantment or anything?
No.
Okay.
The statues were carved by the dwarves who carved the rest of this and made the rest of this place. But the magic's on it, that is not dwarven magic.
I think seeing Hannar look at it, Aerlind does say, Celebrimbor was one of the greatest enchanters and smiths and other things that have ever lived.
Oh, hi. I was hoping to learn a little bit of his talent.
I think today we just did. We're gonna scare the hell out of that ghost bird.
Yeah.
So we're going to kind of epilogue a little bit since we're near time for tonight. So you're gonna let the ghost bird that there are people who are coming who are worthy, and are you gonna tell them what's in the top of the tower?
Something
The
very
ghost bird?
precious.
Yeah, the ghost
Yeah,
bird.
no.
Okay.
I think it's very ambiguous.
Yeah.
Okay.
Something worth guarding.
Okay. They take your word for it. You were able to get past those statues, so they are Kalia is almost in reverence of you. Like, she thinks, again, like, this place is tied to the gods, and you were able to walk to where even the matriarchs of the crones have not been able to walk. So whatever you say, absolutely. And absolutely. Yeah, you leave the tower the same way you came in, going back down and then back up that side tower. I think, Barondir, it seems like you have paid your debt to Leorin, and then some. Definitely have been through this. So, are you taking your leave?
Yeah, I think what I will do is I'll speak to the rest of the party, and since we're looking for healers and those with the power to sort this, I can kind of go off in one direction, maybe towards, I'll leave it to you, Loremaster, specific direction to search for those healers or to speak with them. But maybe if I do run into Lorien along the way, I think what Barondir is feeling in this moment is, or is reflecting on his ride out, is the words of hope, or the hope that the song that Aerlind said is a point of hope, and he's still wrestling with that in his mind as he rides and thinks about how his entire life, or up to this point, he has viewed it as sort of like a cursed existence, as someone who was from this the remnants of a once great empire, and how there is still this beauty and love and hope that he witnessed, that maybe for the first time in a long time he felt that too. Yeah.
Beautiful. Love it. And our ranger, Barondir, rides off into the ranger sunset. So thank you for joining us for a couple sessions of this campaign, right?
Yay.
That was.
Hold on one second.
Thank you for having me.
No problem. As the rest of you are starting to, you've taken your leave of Barondir, and you're making your way through the Swan Fleet, you're going to suddenly feel like you're being watched. And then out of some trees walks an elf. And they look at you and like, you are the hardest people to find. And we're going to stop.
We are hard people to find.
Yeah, it's
We
true.
looked at a map and went, what if we go into the middle of a swamp?
Distant from all other places.
Yes, the middle of nowhere.
Oh, amazing.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us for another session of the Unsung Tales. I'd like to thank our chat mods for their incredible hard work. Thank you, James V. And thank you to everyone who joined us tonight, live or later, whichever one, your only two options. Thank you to our amazing Patreons who keep us ad-free and independent. It's because of you we get to play games without worrying about advertising or sponsorships. We get to play how and what we like, and we love that. Thank you so much. You can join their heroic ranks at happyjacks.org/Patreon. Let's go ahead and go around and introduce ourselves. We'll start with Dave again.
Once again, I've been Kadave. Super curious about random swamp elf.
Swamp elf.
Like, that's a whole thing now.
Fire dwarf. Swamp
Swamp
elf.
elf.
Yeah, there you go.
It's different.
Yeah, the
seasonal
two
festivals.
opposites. They
Yeah.
balance the universe together.
As far as other things going on in the world, there is one remaining weekend of the Southern California Renaissance Pleasure Fair. If you come out to said fair this next weekend, stop by the Rogues Reef stage, and I will be there. And see the Poxy Boggards perform, see the Merry Wives of Windsor perform, see
won't
Sportive Tricks perform, all on the Rogues Reef stage. Come by, have a craft beer in the back of the place, and enjoy your afternoon. It's supposed to be less hot than last weekend, so yay.
Nice.
Although weather reports are just made of lies.
Yeah, they are.
So who knows?
Ray.
Hi everyone, Kimi, Dave, Kai, Smap. That was a blast. I am so glad to have played in those two short sessions. Thank you for having me, Kimi. This session was impeccably paced, impeccably paced, and really just really cool. Super defied expectations. Very awesome. So glad I had a chance to play. My name is Ray. I am a writer, educator, and publisher of ttrpgs, among other things. You can find my work at www.myth.works. And I will throw it over I'll go to Samantha.
Oh no, that's me.
Ha
Hi. I'm Sam. I have been Runa of Bree, your friendly neighborhood tomb lock picker this week. You can find me on the internets at Red Pandroid, and here on Mondays playing this incredible game. Kimi, I loved getting to explore every single room in this place. It's so good.
So glad.
And if you feel so inclined and want to see weird stuff I create, you can go to my shop, stiarnastore.com, where you can find all kinds of clothing, including this t-shirt, which introverts might need, that says warning, no people, and a bunch of threatening things in increasingly smaller text. So you can warn people that they should go away.
Yes. See, really, that's what the ghost bird should have worn. That would have been much more
Exactly.
effective.
This is my dog walking shirt when
Yeah.
I go outside.
Nice.
Yeah.
It super totally reminds me of like the warning radiation label
Yeah.
on the top of the thing from Aliens.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Alien,
Got like
the first
skulls
one.
on it.
Yeah.
So people
It's
know
great.
that you don't want to talk to them.
Yeah. Go away.
Good.
Except for these people. I
These
like you.
people, yes.
Oh, I guess it's me now. Hi. Hello. I'm Kai. I never go last. This is very confusing. I'm Kai. I have been Aerlind of Mithlond. You can find me on all social media platforms as Estelle of Imladris, doing a lot of this, though never as juicy and romantic as this single session of tabletop was. Thank you, Kimi, for that. Oh my god. Open the door for me to just gush. You can find me back here in a week, and I am a founding member and producer and performer for a podcast called The Lore Brewery, where we try a bunch of different game systems. Right now we are playing 5e. We are playing a fairy tale game called Far, Far Away, where I play a horrible teenage boy who really likes ice. It is a game about fairy tales, and it's all the fairy tales that you knew growing up and maybe some you didn't know, twisted into fantasy in a world full of high fae politics and the politics of existing in a world controlled by the fae. It's wild. You should check it out. It is wherever you get your podcasts. You can find it at Lore Brewery. And outside of that, I also was the costume designer for a little web series that you might have heard of called The Party.
Yay!
That was wildly successful, completely surpassed all of our expectations. Please go check it out. All episodes are now available on YouTube. It has all kinds of people from the tabletop community in it, as well as it just being about a group of friends that play tabletop together. So go check it out. You can also find everything for that at Party Web Series, wherever you go on social media ever. And that's plenty for me. Please take us home, Kimi. Take this away from me, Kimi.
All right. Hi, I'm Kimi. I have been your Loremaster for this game. You can find me at Golden Lasso Girl everywhere on social media, or if you at happyjacksrpg, that's also me. You can find the games that I design at goldenlassogames.com. And yeah, that's it. We'll be at Strategicon if you're in Los Angeles area for Memorial Day weekend. That's at the Hilton LAX in 2 weeks.
Oh God, that's 2 weeks from now.
Yeah. And I'm actually having my first booth selling my stuff at the first time, so I'm nervous. I have like banners and stuff.
Go buy
We'll
her
see.
out, guys.
Yeah, go buy my stuff. It'll be great. Or playing my games. I'm also running a bunch of games there if you want to play in a game with me. So you can sign up for those at strategicon.net. Yes, I remembered that. And yeah, thank you so much for joining us. Join us next Monday night at 7 p.m. for the next session of this game. If you want to catch up on past episodes, you can visit happyjacks.org/unsung tales without the the. And if you want to find all the systems that we've played, actual plays, there's like more than 25 systems now. All the other IPs for the Happy Jacks network, you can visit happyjacks.org. And thank you so much. And we will see you next week. And thank you so much, Ray. It has been amazing having you at the table.
Thank you.
We are very excited that you have so many incredible opportunities that have come up. And even though they've taken you away from our table already, but you have to be back, you promised. So not for this campaign, but in the future.
I definitely will be.
Okay, wonderful. Yeah. All right. Thank you very much. And we'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye.
Oh, both hands.